What is your biggest dream? What is your Everest? On April 25th, 2015, a powerful earthquake struck Nepal and rocked Everest, the highest mountain in the world. Thousands of people were killed and 100,000 left homeless. I was on a ladder climbing an ice wall at 6,000 meters, approximately 20,000 feet, when the earthquake struck. The whole wall started shaking left and right. A big chunk of ice, the size of a car, collapsed on my left-hand side. It roared like a rocket taking off. There was so much snow in the air, I couldn't see anything and I couldn't breathe. I was suffocating. I climbed up really fast, past the edge, clipped myself to the anchor, and I thought, this is the end. I'm going to be buried alive under the avalanche. There was nothing I could do except to hold on. I thought about the sadness my family would feel. Strangely, I felt at peace, and I accepted that this is how my life would end. After about 2 to 3 minutes of falling ice, everything stopped. I was shaking so badly that I couldn't control myself. I tried to take a deep breath, and I started sobbing. What was I doing on Everest? What led me to risk my life on the highest mountain in the world? 4 years ago, I wasn't a mountain climber. I was an electrical engineer working for a large American corporation in California. To go up the stairs, I would use an elevator. I had no camping experience. I've never slept in a sleeping bag, not even in my own backyard. I was scared of spiders crawling inside my sleeping bag. And to give you a better perspective, I hated cold weather. I would wear a heavy jacket at 25 degrees Celsius. Why would a California girl and an engineer decide to climb mountains? What forced me out of my comfort zone? I was in a seminar. The leader of the seminar inspired us to pursue a huge project, something beyond myself and my wildest dreams that I've never imagined, something impossible. My mind blanked out until someone mentioned trekking to Everest Base Camp. Before I knew it, I shouted out, "I'm going to climb Everest!" People stared at me in disbelief. I couldn't put it back in my mouth without looking like a chicken or a coward. I was so excited, I went home and I Googled how to climb Everest. I decided to start my training by climbing the highest mountain in California, Mount Whitney, which is only 300 meters shorter than Mont Blanc. And I'm not talking about the pen. As soon as I announced it to my friends, they thought I'm crazy. So I decided to go alone in the winter. In my solo attempt, in the middle of a cold, windy, snowy night, my water bottle opened up inside my sleeping bag. I ended up with wet sleeping bag, no tent, freezing. I thought this is how people die in the mountain, so I recorded the last moments of my life. on my phone. Here is the video.
خیلی سردمه. هفته بعد از ظهر نمیدونم تا صبح چجوری سر بکنم. خیلی سرده. دلم نمیخواد اینجا باشم. خیلی سخته. نمیخوام. خیلی سخته. خیلی سردمه. گرم نمیشم.
So I'm talking in Farsi, my mother language. I couldn't think of any English at that moment. This is one of the most stupid things I've ever done in my life. That night, I faced many fears. Fear of being alone, fear of being in extreme dark, in absolute darkness, and lonely, and fear of death. I learned the best way to overcome my fears is facing them and acknowledging them. I learned that I have to train physically and mentally a lot more to get ready for Everest. My next challenges of climbing volcanoes in Ecuador also ended in failure. I found the challenges and physical rigors too difficult. I wondered why anyone would subject themselves to such a danger and discomfort just to be able to say they stood on top of the world. Giving up was the best option. Wouldn't you agree? Except when we step outside our comfort zone and start something, all sorts of things occur that we wouldn't expect. The whole stream of events happens in our favor that we wouldn't even dream of. The same day that I quit mountain climbing, I got a new job offer. I started teaching engineering in California State University. On campus, I met Dr. Jeffrey Cutler, who founded the organization Empower Nepali Girls 15 years ago. He shared some tragic stories about the girls who become victims of human trafficking or are forced to get married at a very young age. Some as young as 12. I was so moved by what I heard from him that this gave me an incentive far greater than mere personal achievement. And eventually, I reignited my goal of climbing Everest with the motivation to help in the plight of the girls in Nepal. As a young girl growing up in Iran, I experienced firsthand the oppressive, restrictive environment that makes gender discrimination possible. Growing up, I saw women around me being deprived of their right to education, never achieving their full potential. And now, I promise the Nepali girls that I raise $1 per foot of any mountain that I climb to provide a scholarship for 300 girls to continue their education. Because educating a girl is educating all the generations after her. They are the mothers of the future. Girls with basic education are 4 times less likely to get married as children. When women in a country are empowered, the whole country significantly improves. Investing in a girl is investing in the future. My dream of climbing Everest had a second life. And I trained harder than ever. And soon, I was on a plane to Nepal, where I met the girls for the first time, visited homes, saw their schools, and received smiles everywhere I went. I I connected to the girls in a different level because they knew I have experienced some of their pain myself. Some of these girls hadn't met a woman engineer, hadn't met a woman mountain climber. And I wanted with all my heart to be the role model because I never had a role model myself. And I wanted to simply tell them to be hopeful and climb their Everest, which was continuing their education. Back to training, I was climbing an 8,000-meter peak in Chinese Himalayas called Chuoyu. When we do a high-altitude mountain, we go up and down the mountain because of the lack of oxygen, because we want our body to get used to the elevation. We go up, drop off some of our gear, come back down, and rest. We go up and down as many times as possible until everyone is ready. On the 20th day of the climb, I had a headache, sore throat, and I was nauseous and tired. It took me 2 minutes to convince myself to take the next step. I had a hard time keeping up with the rest of the team because they were mostly men, taller than me, with longer strides. I was done. I needed some energy. I needed some motivation. I imagined 2 little Nepali girls with their dark hair and rosy cheeks, Nimsong and Pasang. They were looking at me. They wanted me to continue. I knew by overcoming the hardship and getting to the top of this mountain, I will inspire them to achieve their goals in the face of their challenges. I wanted to teach them not to give up on life and climb their Everest, which was continuing their education. Finally, after 2 years of training every single day, I was ready to meet Mother Everest. It takes 60 days to climb Everest. The 7.8 earthquake happened on the day 25 of the climb. I could hear through the radio that many people are crushed by boulders and ice from the avalanche. 20 people died on the base camp. A helicopter rescued all the survivors within the next 7 days. I came back to California in shock and still sobbing. I did not summit Everest, but climbing external mountains taught me to climb my inner mountains first. I learned how to face my fears, how to step outside my comfort zone, and how to appreciate everything. Mountains taught me to be patient, humble, and accept my failures. Facing challenges, taking risks, tackling the things that frighten me the most are precisely the things that inspired me, as well as inspiring our girls to follow in my footsteps. These girls are attempting something that is absolutely unprecedented, to be the first one in their villages who attain an education and pursue a professional career. They will demonstrate to their families and communities that they are indeed amongst their country's greatest resources. And someday, they will transform the nation. And of course, their Everest is much higher than my Everest. I did not summit Everest, but I have found a bigger mountain to climb, a bigger goal to share with you. In the past 100 years, we have put a man on the moon and climbed the highest mountains in the world, but still haven't climbed the mountain for women's empowerment. Our goal for 2017 and the rest of the 21st century worldwide is providing equal opportunities for women. This has become my Everest, and that's a goal worth sharing. Let's climb this Everest together.